Live from Alachua, Florida, I'm Amrita Kaylee.
And I'm Nam Amrita. Welcome to Nectar Talks, from the heart of New Ramanreti, the largest Hare Krishna community in North America and the home of thousands of Bhakti Yoga practitioners.
In our ongoing interviews, we dig deep into our search for loving connections with Krishna and each other.
With you, we hope to uncover the real-life stories and inner journeys of our vibrant community of friends and special guests.
Like bees searching for nectar, we seek to extract pearls of wisdom from how they live their lives and the lessons they can impart to us and our listeners.
If you're seeking nectar, look no further.
All right, let's get started. Thank you. Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Hare Krishna, this is Amrita Kaylee. Welcome everyone to Nectar Talks. We are having a little bit of a technical difficulty right now with the internet. This is a pre-recorded interview. So just bear with us for a couple of minutes and the show should get started shortly. Okay, so nice to be with you all tonight. Live from Alachua, Florida, I'm Amrita Kaylee.
And I'm Nam Amrita. Welcome to Nectar Talks, from the heart of New Ramanreti, the largest Hare Krishna community in North America and the home of thousands of Bhakti Yoga practitioners.
In our ongoing interviews, we dig deep into our search for loving connections with Krishna and each other.
With you, we hope to uncover the real-life stories and inner journeys of our vibrant community of friends and special guests.
Like bees searching for nectar, we seek to extract pearls of wisdom from how they live their lives and the lessons they can impart to us and our listeners.
If you're seeking nectar, look no further.
All right, let's get started. Thank you. Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for a special episode of Nectar Talks. We have our wonderful guest, Sanka Prabhu. Sanka Prabhu moved to Alachua in 2010, and he's very well loved for his incredible cooking and his passion for gardening around the community. And he's also really well known for serving Srila Prabhupada and having some really humorous stories with Srila Prabhupada in Juhu in Mumbai. Sanka Prabhu, thank you so much for joining us today. We're really, really excited to hear from you. How are you?
Well, I am doing very well, actually, aside from having stage 4 prostate cancer metastasizing and other ailments going along with the blast radiation and hormone therapy that I have. Other than that, I am in good spirits. I'm happy. I've gotten my calling like Maharaj Prithvi got 7 days. I got who knows, but I have a mission. And my mission is to make sure that prasadam distribution goes on. And that's what my focus is. And what I do, I'm not like most cooks. I do the whole shebang. I plant the seed, I water it as it's growing, I preach to it, talk to it, sing to it, water it, fertilize it. And then the product is offered to Krishna. Now to the first Prabhupada story. In 1975, I wanted to ask Prabhupada a question. I had this question, and I never really asked him a question yet. I've known him for a while. So anyways, I waited till the evening, and I went to his quarters, and in this room was 25, 30 devotees, guests sitting there listening while Prabhupada was eloquently speaking from the Bhagavad Gita. And then I was waiting there in the back of the room, waiting for a pause or asking questions or something. I don't know what transpired, but I got to ask my question. And I said, Srila Prabhupada, can I ask you a question? And Prabhupada's reply was, yes. Just like that, slurred on. I said, oh my Lord, I hope it is good. If he's going to get me on something. So I said, Srila Prabhupada, what is the benefit of all the flowers we offer to Krishna? Now, that's an intelligent question. It's not dumb. It's for a pujari, someone making garlands and growing flowers. It'd be nice to know what happens to the flowers, right? So I thought I was justified by asking this question. Now, Srila Prabhupada's response, he said, quote, word for word, every flower you offer to Krishna or to your spiritual master, the plant the flower came from becomes a human being in his next life. And then what do you think I see? With my wisdom and my understanding of life, being 73-year-old and gone through the whole shebang, everything from rape all the way through Vietnam and through the whole, everything you can imagine. And Krishna consciousness, I have to say, has saved me. It saved me from going down to a hellish condition that doesn't warrant me speaking anything about my hellish conditions that I've gone through, but I'd rather speak of the good things in my life, all the positive things, like my association with Srila Prabhupada, and back to this story about the flowers. So I think about the first generation, and we all of us, what?
I just wanted to say, I'd never heard that every flower you offer, the plant that it came from becomes a human being. I mean,
yeah. So this is why I am so meticulous about, like I was telling you, I do the whole shebang. I plant the seed, I water it, I nurture it, it grows. The flower is offered to Krishna. The plant becomes who? What kind of human being? Being a rose in Krishna's hair? What kind of human being is that? And I see it right there in front of me. Wow. The second and third generation Hare Krishna devotee. As far as I'm concerned, us first generation, we did the deed. We did it. We went to the garbage bins. We picked out the rotten fruit. We stole flowers from people. We did everything we could possibly do and offered everything to Krishna with love and devotion. And as a result of our transpiring in Krishna consciousness, the whole second generation was manifest. And then so many things, I'm not going to go into that either, but the second generation was mistreated and gone through some things that they shouldn't have gone through as children of Krishna. It hurts me. I hear what you all did to them and everything, but we're not going there today. We're going to talk about the good things of Krishna consciousness. Like everybody, is so enamored by name, fame, adoration, and distinction, isn't it? Everybody who's in leadership, you look at them in their different ways, just subtle ways or little ways. It's that name, fame, adoration, and distinction. I've been a devotee for 51 years, and my whole career in Krishna consciousness, I never had that name, fame, adoration, or distinction until I was invited to the 40th anniversary of the opening of the Bombay temple. And as a result of that, they paid for my ticket there. So I said, okay, I'll roll with this. I'm going to tell you the story because it leads into another Prabhupada story. So there I am. I landed in Bombay, and wherever it is, there they are, the kirtan, the garland, the offering of the feet. And I said, nope. This is, okay, Krishna. I said to Krishna, okay, I'm going to accept name, fame, adoration, and distinction. I'm going to accept it. I'm just going to do it. So I went along with that whole introduction with them and everything, and getting my quarters and everything. The next day was Rath Yatra. Now, this was the biggest Rath Yatra I have ever been in my life. And I've cooked for every Rath Yatra in Florida and Puerto Rico and so forth with Bhadra. And this Rath Yatra goes beyond. Anyway, there was literally tens and tens of thousands and thousands of people in this Rath Yatra. These were the big carts, as big or as big as the ones in London and New York. These were huge carts. And there were so many, like thousands of people in between each cart. And the procession went for 6.5 kilometers, going at a snail's pace. And thousands of people in between each cart. So there I am in the back by Baladev's cart, walking in the back, and then it happened again. They came up to me and said, Prabhu, would you like to lead kirtan for Balaram? I said, this name, fame, adoration thing is pretty cool. I like it in a way to see it happen. So I got out there and I led a rip-roaring kirtan, the old style, for half hour. Everybody jumping and rolling. So making a long story short, I pulled Balaram's cart, and then it took me about an hour to get the Subhadra cart, going through thousands of people holding myself, not no one steal my money or passport. So finally I pulled Subhadra's cart, then I got Jagannath's cart. So then I got back to Subhadra's cart, and I was walking with Subhadra's cart, and 5 hours have already gone by of this Rath Yatra. Still going on. We haven't finished the 6.5 kilometers yet. So it happened again. They came up to me and they said, Prabhu, would you like a seat at Subhadra's cart? I said, okay. They put, so I guess you want to call it a Vyasa or a seat or something. But I was right in front of Subhadra. I turned my head and it was only like 8 inches from her form, and I'm looking, oh, wow, until I sat the rest of the Rath Yatra on Subhadra's cart. And I'm telling you, this name, fame, adoration, and distinction seems to be pretty far up. And then the big thing happened. We got to the pavilion. The Rath Yatra finally ended after hours and hours and hours and hours of roaming along. Finally, we got to the pavilion. There was a big, huge pavilion. Thousands of people were gathering in there. So now this is a very, 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 I guess I had television and movie stations, you know. I don't know from where or what, you know, but there was also ITV, you know, Bombay, you know. Anyways, there was all these things there, and there was a parliament lady who was, you know, and also, you know, very, I forgot what her position was. But anyways, they had all these people anyway. So I'm walking around in this pavilion, you know, and they had been serving out for 20,000 people they cooked for the time. Anyways, I'm walking around, and finally the guy gets up on the podium and he says, now we would like all the devotees who helped build this Bombay temple to come up and sit in front here. We have a nice place for you. And it was cool. I mean, they had lounge chairs and, you know, it was kind of nice, you know, sitting there, you know. This is my first experience with this. I never had this, you know, seeing the big things with the microphones and the lights and, you know, and the cameras, you know, and boy, this is big. I mean, how many people in the world are watching this? Anyway, it was really far out. So then everybody started to speak. Then the narrator went on, and then the police chief and the mayor, and, you know, it was going on. And then Gopal Krishna gets up on the podium, he says his thing, and then they wheel up Jataka Maharaj, and he says his thing, and then the narrator comes on and says, now we would like all of you devotees who helped build the temple to come up here on the stage and say some remembrance to Srila Prabhupada in the building of this temple. So I went up there and I sat, and I'm in the, I think I was the second or third, fourth one ever to speak. You know, I'm sitting there looking at this crowd, and there was 10, 15,000 people out there, and all this lights and everything. You know, I've never been on television or in the media in any way like this. I thought, oh my Lord. And I'm thinking, what story am I going to tell the world at this moment that's not going to make Prabhupada look like a fool or anything, you know? But what story am I going to tell? And finally, it was my turn. And they said, now, Shankardas, would you tell a remembrance of Sri Prabhupada? And then I got the story, and here's the story. I forgot, it was in the 74, 75, Mother Palika was Prabhupada's cook and servant. So one day she came into the kitchen and she, you know, was sick or something. And she asked me if I could go to Bhubaneswar to buy Prabhupada's fruits. And of course I was overjoyed. So, oh, Krishna, I get to buy something for Prabhupada. Oh, it is so great. So I went to see Ekanath. He was a treasurer, gave me a big pile of money. I got in a taxi cab and I went off to Bhubaneswar. And I got the Bhubaneswar marketplace, and it was a huge marketplace. I found the fruit market, and I went inside the fruit market. And then I started buying fruits for Srila Prabhupada. And of course, I could speak a little Hindi, and I knew the money system, and I can wheel and deal and get good deals. And I'm walking around, and finally, in the middle of this fruit market was an orange vendor. And he had this big cart, and it was just completely full with a mountain of beautiful dark orange Musumbi or oranges. And I said, Krishna, this is it. This is gonna be my glorification. I'm gonna buy so many oranges that Prabhupada can have orange juice every day while he's here. So I went up to the guy there, and I said, could you have a taste of one of these oranges? Now, I don't know where we got the orange, but it was the sweetest, best orange I ever had. And I said, okay, so let me buy a gunny bag full of these oranges. I bought 50 kilos of oranges for Prabhupada. Got him in a taxi and sent him up farm to his kitchen, and I was in hopes and prayers that he would have his fresh orange juice every day. So 3 or 4 or 5 days later, on a morning walk, I went on a lot of morning walks you do. Anyways, at the end of the morning walk, we were walking, you come to a cliff, and on top of the cliff, there's this big house with big picture windows, and the early morning sun was reflecting off the picture windows. So as we were approaching, getting ready to turn around, Prabhupada all of a sudden started talking about the perverted reflection of the material world. And he was talking like that, and then out of the blue, he stops everybody and he says, "Who has bought me these oranges?" And me being, of course, a very puffed up brahmachari, I go running up to Srila Prabhupada, got in front of Srila Prabhupada and said, "I bought the oranges." And Prabhupada said, "Those oranges are 10th class, just like you." And then he said the oranges were 10th class because they were put in refrigerators during the season and froze and taken out of season, and they're 10th class. So there it was. So that's the story I told the whole world. Now, it was a nice story, wasn't it? It didn't make Prabhupada look like a fool or anything. It made me look like a fool. Right. You know, so that respect, I am very happy with that story. But anyways, after I got back to the Alachua, I went up in front of Krishna and Balaram, who I consider Yogeshvara, the supreme mystic. I said, "Yogeshvara, supreme mystic. I don't want it. I don't want one iota ounce of name, fame, adoration, and distinction. I want none of it. Ever again. None of it. I don't want it. It's useless. It's pointless. It just leads to nothing but it's useless for me. Maybe for all of you, you like it and you can enjoy with it. Not me. I am me. I'm 73 years old. I'm wise. I've been there and done everything you can imagine. So, my friends, another story, which is because I know you're all hearing so much about the aliens coming in Roswell and people seeing UFOs. Okay, so in 1976 in Hyderabad, India, on the farm, we were on a morning walk, and a devotee asked Srila Prabhupada. He said, "Srila Prabhupada, can I ask you a question?" And Prabhupada said yes, and the devotee said, "What do we do when we see a UFO?" And Srila Prabhupada said, "You run!" So in other words, they're not friendly people. They're no one to consider, oh, the world, the new age has arrived. Yes, we all love you, aliens. No. Anyways, that's another side of my life. That's not to be spoken right now. We're telling Prabhupada's story. And then I got to tell the samosa one.
Please tell the samosa story.
This is so funny, the samosa story. Okay, so I was cooking in Bombay in 1974, from around when I was there. And one day in a morning walk, I come up and get Prabhupada's flowers. I was his flower boy. I always gave him flowers. And this time he asked me, I'm going to tell you two stories about the cooking. He said, "Shankadas, how much ghee are you using?" And I said, "Well, I'm using 1 kilo of ghee to cook the morning for 100 devotees, the lunch for 100 devotees, and 6 offerings for the day. I'm going through a kilo of ghee." And Prabhupada said to me, he said, "That's too much." I said, "What?" "Oh, okay." So, a few days, a couple weeks later, he come up and asked me again. So I cut it in half. So he says, "How much ghee are you using now?" And I said, "I'm only using 1/2 kilo." And then Prabhupada said, "You don't know how to cook." And so I asked a sannyasi friend of mine a long time ago, I said, "What's going on with that?" And he said, "Prabhupada was just playing with you. That's all." So anyways, I will leave it with that. But back to the samosas. So in 74, 75, I was asked to make samosas for Prabhupada. He was having some VIPs come for a program. So I had this recipe for 5 vegetable Gujarati samosas. So I worked this filling for hours until it was just so perfect with the spicing and everything. And then I rolled out these puris about this big, and then I filled them halfway and put them over, and I made these half moon samosas. I made 32 or 34 of them and sent them up to Srila Prabhupada. So 3, 4, 5 days later, I was walking, carrying my dropper, and I bumped into Brahmananda Swami. And I said, Brahmananda Swami, did Prabhupada like the samosas? And he said, Prabhupada didn't even touch them. And I was shocked. I said, but he asked me to make these things and he didn't want them. Why? I got confused. And then Hare, he was a brahmachari and came up to me and he said, how would you like to help me cook Prabhupada's lunch? Oh, I said, sure, Dandy, that's good. So we went up to Prabhupada's quarters, went into his kitchen, and he had the chair thing, you know. I mean, he was showing me how to put the dal and the rice and the sabji there. And we were cooking and having a good old time. But before, as we were going into the kitchen, an Indian cook had already come before him because Prabhupada was having some VIPs for lunch. And he had these trays of all kinds of prasadam all around the big table. And he had this one tray that was filled with samosas that were like the little triangle ones that the Indians make, you know. So we're cooking there, having a good old time, me and Hare. And then Prabhupada walks into the kitchen. And Prabhupada looks at me. And then he looks at Harikesh. And then he looks down at the plate of samosas. And then he says, Shankadas, did you make these samosas? I said, oh no, Sri Prabhupada. Someone else came and made these samosas. And then Prabhupada said, you know, you don't know how to make samosas. You don't know how to make footballs. And everything matches everything up. And he walked out of the room chocolate. And then I served them his lunch. So that's a very funny story. Okay, so now I'll let you guys ask a question about anything in my life that you want to know about. Go ahead, yes. Oh, you got 2 years there. You should be coming up with something. You're intelligent. You got 2 sides of the coin there. You got the feminine energy and the male energy, but actually there's only feminine energy. For Prakriti is only feminine, you know. I mean, we've really got to roll on understanding the situation here, you know. We're all female, feminine energies, you know. Krishna is the only male, according to the scriptures that I've read, and Prakriti is feminine. So that's all. Because I'm doing hormone therapy, I guess I'm more into that realm a little bit, you know. You ladies can relate to that. But anyways, you know, that's what I'm saying, you know, all of us, you know, we have to get into that mood that we are all subservient to Krishna. He is our male, and we are just his companions and sons and sisters and brothers, because we all are brothers and sisters, and we're all equal. And I'm going to tell, because there's a lot of people out there who are still once in a while, even devotees once in a while, you know, eating one of those little cream puffs, you know, with a little egg on it. Nah, that's all right, you know, and you eat it, you know, sure, go right ahead. You know, but I'm telling you, there's karmic reactions for every action that we do. And there's 2 sides of the coin. One side of the coin is righteous, and you don't eat anything that poops. That is one side of the coin. The other side of the coin, you eat everything that poops. Everything, because I know for a fact that everything is eaten on this planet. So what is the reason that everybody is eating this flesh? I'm asking you two what your opinion is on why people are doing it. Because look at this, the pandemic came, all right? The pandemic started in a slaughterhouse, outside slaughterhouse in China. A slaughterhouse, you know, blood guts all over the place. And a virus manifested itself to cause destruction and havoc to the human society because of our simple activities of eating all these things that poop. So me, I'm thinking, all right, I'm on Facebook, I see love, compassion, black loves black, you know, blood, all these things are going on, compassion, peace, love, you know. What happened? I went to wards, okay? And what did I see at wards? The line was almost outside the meat market. They didn't learn one thing at all. And I'm telling you, people of the earth here, because I don't know what I am. I don't know if I'm even from your planet. You know, I have no idea because I'm so covered up with so many different gadgets and gizmos from all these different creatures and different living entities, especially CIA and all you people who mess me up. You know, I'm telling you right now, reaction is coming. Mother Earth is, I'm going to say French, is pissed off. She's mad at all these because I know, because when I go on my nature walks and I put my right hand in her spring and I say the mantra to have all the goddesses of all the holy rivers and waters of the creation come and heal me, I hear Mother Earth screaming and crying and feeling so much pain. I actually can, because I'm an empath, you can't believe how much pain I feel in the forest from these trees and life, because everything is being destroyed by these demons that are taking over this planet and controlling it. And they think that your dinner and dessert, but they're really mistaken, because Yogeshvara is the supreme mystic, and by my praying, I know somehow he has put a bubble around all my friends and all the second and third generation and first generation devotees who are sincere and who really love God. Because there is a God, he's going to give everybody their fair due because he's got it all arranged for all he is. So please get your acts together. Now is the time. Something is coming. I'm an empath, a very powerful empath. And I know and I feel the energy is coming. And everything is peaceful and loving right now. The energy is so wonderful. But if you persist on doing the slaughter of eating everything that poops on this planet, I mean, I put you all out to lunch. You're all out of my realm of consciousness, out of my love, out of my bubble, all of you, everything. I've only got one wish in my mind, but now I've got stage 4 cancer. I'm dying of that. And right now, my focus is getting out of this material world. And I have renounced everything. I renounce all these. I renounce praying and everything for everybody and everything. I've only asked Krishna for one prayer and to give me only one wish, and that's that I think of him at the time of my demise when I leave. And all arrangements have already been made for my leaving. Everything has been arranged by sincere friends and true friends, because you both are my true friends, you know, and so many of these are my true friends. But so many of you are these wolves in sheep's clothing, and you're out there. I know you are. I feel you. I feel your energy. I feel your frequency. You know, you can't hide from a very powerful empath or whatever I am. I have no idea. I'm just going on what I hear and what people say about me. But I don't know who I am, except that I have this energy and I can go on and on like an energizer. I'm 73, and you can check my vitals and my physical being. I am the healthiest 73-year-old Vietnam veteran that anybody at the VA hospital has ever seen. My doctors are so impressed. They're so amazed. And it all due because I don't eat the things that poop. And I haven't eaten anything that poops for 51 years. And look at me. Look at me. So you can't tell me you gotta have protein, you gotta have this, that, and the other thing. I'm sorry for the preaching, but you know, I got carried away. I'm sorry. You guys are supposed to ask questions. You're not supposed to let me go off on a tangent.
We're just waiting for our time.
Okay, now your time. All right. I'm sorry, everybody. I just got carried away.
Sanka Prabhu.
This is the nectar, Sanka Prabhu. Thank you.
Seriously, you've given us so much right off the bat. I just need to get my bearings straight and figure out, okay, where am I going to pick up from? I you know, something that's surfaced for me in everything that you've said is that you really have this special connection with nature, and I'm fascinated by that. I mean, just going back to what you said in the beginning, not only that a plant whose flower is offered to Krishna becomes a human being in the next life. But you're planting these seeds like they're your own children, and you're seeing every seed that you plant as, you know, you're birthing a new devotee in the next life. And it's just giving me so much insight and emotion to this service that you're doing all around the community. You volunteer to you know, do people's landscaping and plant their flowers and gardens. And one thing that you told me recently, when you found out you had stage 4 cancer, you said you don't even want to get paid for that anymore. And then how you're saying how you can feel the pain of the earth, and that you're an empath. I mean, this is all really deep, and I'm just learning so much of your sensibility as a human being and as a devotee to see under so many layers of just kind of the superficial existence that most people live by. And you're just in touch with all these incredible dimensions, and it's all connected to your heart. You know, it's not just, oh, I have this ability. This is all your heart and your love for every living creature out there, and always directly connected with Krishna. All you want to do is for people to get to know Krishna. And, you know, I just think about when I see you at the temple and you're always giving your very special blessing. Give us the special blessing, Sanka Prabhu. How does it go?
Krishna Matir Asti. The blessing originated from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Another story. Check it out. Madhya Leela 12. Somewhere in the 20s, there's a story. Now, let me tell you what happened, what transpired about this blessing that I give. It started up in New Vrindavan, way back in 2000. I went to New Vrindavan in 2000, stayed 2010. So while I was there in New Vrindavan, I was the head cook. And I would come out on the Sunday feast after the morning program, and there would be assembled, you know, hundreds of Indians, you know, from all over America coming to this holy dham. And I would get up there and say, well, I'm the head cook, and I need 20 people to help me cut up the Sunday feast. So all these Indians would come, all 20 would come. I would get them all situated and set up, and then I would give each one of them an embrace. I would put an apron on them, and then I would give them the blessing, Krishna Matir Astu. Now, I never knew where the blessing came from, how I got it, or how it transpired, why I was giving it to all these Indians every time they came to the kitchen. So anyways, making a long story short, maybe 2 years ago, I was out in the pavilion area of Alachua temple here, and a devotee walked by, and a friend of mine, so I gave her or him, whatever he was, I gave him the blessing. I said, Krishna Matir Astu, and touched his head. And on the side of me, there was a Prabhupada disciple sitting in a chair. And he came up to me and he said, who are you to give blessings? You're not a guru, you're not a sannyasi. I don't see you as anyone warranting the gift of giving blessing. So I scratched my head. You know, I said, holy cow, I've been giving this blessing for what now, 14 years? And I've been doing it wrong, so I freaked out. So in the morning, I went to the temple. I got in front of Krishna and Balaram, Yogeshvara, and I told him my story and what my problem was. And then I turned around, and there was Madan Mohan. So we lost one.
Yes, hopefully she'll come back.
So
Keep going.
Madan Mohan, should I keep speaking?
Yeah, go ahead. She should sign back in.
So anyway, so Madan Mohan said, well, let's check the database. So he got to the database, and what do you think we saw? We checked it out. Krishna Matir us do. Boom, 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 boom. It came up in 6 spots, but what was significant was, like I was saying, Madhya Lila 12, the origination of this blessing, and why I, Shankadas, can give this blessing to whoever I want. And I don't care what anybody says, because this is what the Chaitanya Charitamrita says. Anyways, the story is Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was walking down the streets of Navadvip, and off in the distance he saw Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu coming forward with a humongous kirtan. He ran up to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and in those days, the greeting was Om Narayana Namaha. So he said that to Lord Chaitanya, and Lord Chaitanya, I forgot what the story goes, you read it. He embraced him and said, no, Sarvabhauma, the proper blessing is Krishna Matir Astu. So this blessing comes from the mouth of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now all of you are his children. He is our father. So as children of the Father, we are allowed to do as the Father is doing. If my father, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, can give that blessing and tell Sarvabhauma that's the proper blessing, then I too will do that blessing. Now to go to the purport. Aha! Because Srila Prabhupada says that every sannyasi is supposed to give this blessing to whoever he sees. Those are the words of my spiritual master. My spiritual master speaks the truth. Every word he says is spiritual, and anybody who can change that, well, I'm not going there either. So,
what's the meaning? I don't know if we've mentioned it yet.
What meaning?
The translation of the blessing.
Well, the translation of the blessing is, may you always remember Krishna. That is the blessing. That is the blessing. Isn't that cool, guys? Isn't that cool? That's a cool blessing. It really is. I mean, I roll on it. And I can say it to Krishna too. I just say, Krishna Matar Astu, and then I say, may you always remember Jesus. And of course, I'm a Christian. I believe in Jesus. He's the way, light, salvation. But that 6th commandment, we get back to that again, folks. Eating the poop. That's the 6th commandment. You're breaking it, so you're not following the laws of God. Sorry. Okay, now back to your questions.
Well, I have another question, but I don't know if Amrita Kayla, you want to go next. You got one?
Yeah, let Amrita Kayla ask a question. She's just been sitting there laughing and smiling and enjoying the conversation.
I am relishing it. You know, you had mentioned that that the 2nd and 3rd generation of devotees, you know, where have they come from? And you said they could have been a flower offered, you know, on Krishna's ear, like behind Krishna's ear. And I thought that was so beautiful, and such an incredible way of seeing how you see the 2nd and 3rd generation of this movement. And I'm just asking you for a bit of advice for us, you know, some words of encouragement for us about how we can continue to share this movement and to please Srila Prabhupada in a way that you think would be pleasing.
Well, I think would be pleasing to Srila Prabhupada if you all opened up your hearts. Open up your heart. I mean, really open up your heart to Krishna. Feel the love and the compassion. And I'm telling you, for all you grihastas, you are the fortunate ones right now. And you are the ones that are blessed with the 3rd generation or 2nd generation. But that love of family, that is the secret of understanding real love of God. You know, that child is so innocent, so connected to purity and love that There's no words for it. You cannot explain, you cannot say a word love to indicate what God is all about. There's no words, only the feeling, only the energy, only the frequencies that come from Krishna mystically. It's all up to us to, as parents, because I'm a parent, I have 3 children and 2 grandkids. And I can say that, yes, family life has shown me love that now, especially with my daughter and my son and my grandkids, I'm seeing that love that they generate, family, is really, really, really connecting me more and more to the real love that Krishna is giving us, as we are his Prakriti, and he is our master and Lord. And that love is coming for everybody. Everybody has the same energy I have, as far as Krishna consciousness, wherever I evolve to, everybody has the same potential, except maybe not, they've done so many things to me. It's hard to say, what kind of DNAs and things they've shot into me and done so many things to do to me, but that's all in the past, and now we should all focus on loving each other. We're all brothers and sisters in this now. We all are brothers and sisters. We have to love each other and care for each other, and fighting and bickering and thinking we know better than Srila Prabhupada. Well, anybody who thinks they know better than Srila Prabhupada, then I'm sorry for you. I really am sorry for you. Not going to go any further than that, because I'm not a guru or a sannyasi or anybody who's warranted any kind of spiritual understanding. You all go beyond me with your charisma and your talk and the way you present stories from the scriptures.
Prabhu,
I'm just not there. Okay.
I want to thank you so much. I think this is an incredibly valuable point for us, that to understand love for God, we have to start at home.
Right.
We know that it pleases Srila Prabhupada to share Krishna consciousness with strangers and to spread this movement. But if we're not doing it at home, if we're not loving, the people around us the best we can, then I think we're missing something very important. And I love that you're reminding us of that. It's very powerful.
It is powerful that, the family is the key to loving God. That's why the Grihastha ashram was there. Even the Kshatriyas had their, women, and like that, So we're just very fortunate that right now we have been given some scripture, and we have given some understanding of who God is and who we are, and especially the second and third generation, you all have a mission as you are children of Krishna, born at Krishna's feet, because your mom and pop, let's listen to this, you second generation, third generation, your mom and pop, even though they did what they did, maybe they did so many things by, just neglecting you and throwing you in schools and doing all that kind of crazy stuff, still, the first generation, second generation, third generation, you're all Krishna's children. And I love you all. I care for you all. I prayed for you all. I've done everything I can possibly do for you. I've cooked the Sunday feast every Sunday, no questions asked. Even if I have to do it alone, I do it alone. I do it with the whole heart feeling I'm pleasing Krishna, and by pleasing Krishna, I'm pleasing all of you. And as a result, you can all attest to it that every Sunday for the last 11 years, the feasts have been off the charts, and they've always been different. Everyone's different. It's just the way it is for a professional chef like myself, and I'm imploring all of you who are listening, please contact Mother Mukhya. I need a replacement team to take over for me. I need you to come and learn. I am going to, as the cancer progresses, I'm going to get into my third cookbook, the quantity cookbook. And this cookbook will also have my autobiography in it. So it'll be the completion of my mission on your planet. And, you know, it's really just get with Mukya and come and learn firsthand. Stir the pot, you know, if you're initiated, you know, let you stir the pot, you know, and let you roll with learning how to really cook with an open heart for Krishna. Because
my experience, I don't do it too often. I should do it more, but you taught me and helped me cook halva on one of the festival days, and it was one of the highlight spiritual experiences of my life. You just infused me with the whole love and spiritual process that it is to cook for Krishna and for the devotees, and it was really a very special experience. And you know, I want to thank you for your years of service as a cook and this mass quantity cooking. I mean, it's just incredible to me how that's done, and that you've done it, you know, with very little assistance. A lot of times you're always there in the kitchen cooking for the devotees, and you know, it's inspiring. So yes, I hope we can put together a nice replacement team for you soon. I wanted to there's so many things I want to touch base, so many topics that are coming up. I just got to ask you a little bit more about this special love that you have for the younger generation devotees. Where is that coming from? You're always, you know, glorifying the next generation devotees. You're always giving out your love for them. Where does that come from, and what's in your heart and in your mind when you talk so sweetly about it?
It comes from hearing. When you go to the temple, you know, before the pandemic, there would be special days, Vishwambar, you know, so many nice kirtanis, the Mayapuris. They would get there and they would open up their hearts singing and glorifying Krishna with song. And it touched my heart so much that they have so much love in their heart, and they're so connected to Krishna like I've never seen the first generation. I mean, their connection is not like we experience. It's mystical. When Vishwambar whirs off and says, Hare Sham, and singing a melody flowing through the creation. You understand that sound vibration travels through the whole creation, as far as I know from the scriptures. So when you chant the holy name with an open heart, that's what I found with the second generation, the third generation. Your hearts are really open. But because the first generation neglected you, put you in schools and abandoned you, and then you had to go through all the things that you're not supposed to have gone through as children of God. You know, you had to be abused in so many different ways by these so-called, you know, devotees, you know, whatever, you know, and it's just, it sickens me to hear that, and it hurt me so much to hear how you guys, you second generations, were the ones that had to endure and suffer so much. For what reason? What reason? I didn't abandon any of my kids. Wherever cool way went to, I was there with them. You know, I still follow Prabhupada's instructions, but I didn't abandon my children. They should be thankful I didn't do that. You know, but you know, so many of you second generations were abandoned, and then you were sexually abused, physically abused, mentally abused, in so many different ways, you know. And I mean, why? I always ask Krishna, every time I first came, I would always go in front of Krishna and I would ask him, why? Why does your children have to suffer like this from your own children? Why? And I never got an answer, because, you see, I go in front of the deities and I pray, but I never get an answer directly. I just get some kind, whatever I pray for, it manifests somehow, sometime in the future.
Yeah,
so anyways, that's my feelings for the second, third generation. It's sad to me, but I see it, your tattoos, everything you're doing is for betterment of your life. It's cool.
It's hard to put an answer to that question, but I just appreciate that, you're really feeling the suffering of the younger generations that have gone through that, and I'm sure giving a lot of closure to a lot of these younger devotees to hear a senior devotee like yourself feeling so much love and empathy for them. So thank you for that. I want to ask you, you always refer to Krishna as Yogeshwara. Why are you so attached to that particular name?
Well, then I have to tell you the story, okay? How I came to Krsna Consciousness and how I came in contact with Yogeshvara, the Supreme Mystic.
Mm.
I'm not going to go into my life, but it was a horrible one. In Vietnam, okay? So I'm in this situation. I'm in my room, in my house, my apartment rather. So knock on the door. I open the door, and there's my brother. My brother, he was in the Marines, but he was my younger brother. And he had a book under his arm. He had a shaved head. And he didn't have devotee clothes on, but he was dressed up. Anyways, he was ready to embrace me. He says, well, I can't embrace you, and I cannot come in your house. There's too much evil, because I was involved with some New England witches, and I'm a warlock. Well, so many things, Anyways, so he said, what I'm going to do is, in the early days, it was an Ishopanishad. Remember Prabhupada's first Ishopanishad? And Vishnu was in the causal ocean, halfway up in his forearm form, in a pinkish type of photograph picture. He pulled out 4 of these, and he said, put one on each wall in your room. This will get rid of all the negative energy in your room and keep the negative energy from entering while you're going to read this book. And he gave me Prabhupada's Krishna book.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said, now that you got this book there, how would you like to go on a mystical journey to see Sri Yogeshvara, the Supreme Mystic? That's where I heard his name. That was December 1970. As soon as I heard the name Yogeshvara, boom, I was immediately attracted. Unconsciously, unknowingly, I automatically became attracted. I'm a warlock, I was attracted to mysticism and magic, all those things I could do, I love it. So I got involved. So here I am. So that night, I was sitting in my room, and I had the Krishna book in my left hand, and in my right hand, I had 3 trips of orange sunshine LSD. And I had the Krishna book in my other hand. And so I had soft music playing, I had incense going, and I had candles going in the room. I took all the meat and all the horrible things in my refrigerator and threw it all out, got rid of all of that. I kept my drugs, I kept all the bottles of marijuana and everything I had up in the shelf, I kept all that. So I'm sitting there in the middle of my room now. So I'm contemplating, so what should I do? So, of course, being a drug addict, I took the 3 trips of LSD, and then I opened up the Krishna book, and I started reading George Harrison's introduction. Mm-hmm. I read the first paragraph, very good, and then things started getting blurry and moving around, so I stopped reading the Krishna book. And then this is when, for me, I got, you know what a mist is, right? A fog. Well, the fine particle, that very fine particle of water in a fog. Well, one of those fine particles, Yogeshvara, the Supreme Mystic, gave me mystical visions. He opened up a door to a spiritual realm that I'm about to tell you. So as soon as I flipped the Krishna book pages to the first painting, I looked at the painting, under the influence of 3 trips of LSD, and everything in the painting came out: trees, grass, Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, Lord Krishna. And then, by some reason or another, not knowing, not ever reading the Krishna book, a whole pastime went on all around me in living color and sound. Every page I flipped, everything came out, and this all went on for 8 hours straight without stopping. So finally, maybe 3 or 4 days later, my brother comes to my house, and this time I open the door and he says, "Oh my Lord, what has happened? I don't feel any evil presence in your house. I feel different now." So he embraced me, and then I told him my story. And he said, "Now we have to do penance and austerity, because you have just tasted a fine particle of Yogeshvara's mystic energy." I said, "Yeah, I know. So what do we do?" He said, "What we're going to do, this is December 1970, in the middle of winter in Worcester, Massachusetts now. Our austerity was we were going to hitchhike from Worcester, Massachusetts to the Canadian border and back in the middle of winter." So we packed up clothes and everything, food, and we hit the road, and we did. Every city we went to at night, we would sleep in the churches, in the pews at night, sheltered from the winter, because they didn't lock them up in those days, So, so we made it halfway up to New Hampshire. We hitchhiked halfway up to, we actually really did it. We really went to some austerity. So anyways, a state trooper pulls up behind us. And he gets out of his car. He's all bundled up in his cowboy hat, And he said, "Boys, what are you doing hitchhiking in the middle of winter when it's 10 below zero?" So we told him our story, not telling him about the LSD trip or anything. We were telling him we're on a mission of God. And we didn't say Christian, we said Jesus, because we knew he could understand Jesus. So then we talked, and then finally the state trooper said, "Well, boys, I can't arrest you, but I'm telling you, I'm not going to say the French, but you get home." Okay, so then we hitchhiked back to Worcester, Massachusetts. And then the first week of January 1971, me and my brother got on a bus at Worcester, Massachusetts, and we got off in Boston, and we walked into the Commonwealth Avenue Boston Temple. I guess it was Commonwealth Avenue, wherever it was. We walked into the Boston Temple in January 1971. Satsarup and Jayarani were there, not Sannyasi, but he was the temple president. And there was also another Manjari, and I believe Priyananda might have been there too. I don't remember all the people were there, but we were all a happy gathering. We were a happy gathering in Boston. We had the greatest time. I mean, the only thing I remember that was so significant was that every morning they would put the wax paper in front of us, and then in Nanga Manjari, they made this porridge every morning, and they would just slap it on this wax paper. We would just take our hands and that's another story, but I'm not going to go any further than that. But anyways, that were enjoyable days. And I'm going to tell you a little secret. When I went to Laguna Beach in '73, when I actually became a devotee, the thing that I loved the best is that they always locked up the evening offering, the 6:30 offering. So in the morning, I had the key. I would go in there, and every morning I would take 2 puris and I would fill them with halwa and roll it up, and I would just go into a closet and I would sit there standing up. I would just eat those 2 puris and halwa, gobble them down, and then I would fall asleep standing up inside this closet. Anyway, that was the thing. That was my favorite pastime in Laguna Beach.
Thus, the seed was planted for you one day becoming Krishna's cook.
I guess it was. Boji Day
for a lifetime.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, any more questions, or we can go on for as long as you want. I'm having a good time.
Actually, I'm fascinated that your brother is the person who introduced you to Krishna consciousness. Did he continue to practice?
I don't know where he is. We've departed in New Year '73. I told him I'm going. We stayed in Boston for 3 months, then we blooped for 2 years. Blooped. Anyway, those are all those are all stories. So many stories. Anyways, I rejoined the Hare Krishnas in '73, January '73, in Laguna Beach. So I told my brother at that point, I said, well, I'm going to the temple. I told my girlfriend, and I said, well, this is your thing. You coming or not? And they didn't want to come. So I walked into the Laguna Beach temple, and what do you think I saw? Sitting there honoring Prasadam, Swag Damodar, the scientist, Swag Damodar, was sitting there. He was a brahmachari, just honoring Prasadam. And I walked up to him, and I bowed down in front of him, and I said, I have come here to surrender my life to Prabhupada and Krishna. And then he said, you see that room over there? Go over and wash pots. So that's what I did when I was first in Laguna Beach. That's all I did is wash pots.
Classic.
Little pots to wash. Sanka, come wash the pot. And then I was the pot washer. And then Bozide was the cook. And then one day he was so merciful to me. He said, Shankadas, it's time you learn how to cook. And guess what? The first thing he taught me what to make? Ghee in the oven. And then yogurt. And then he gave me what made me a cook today. He taught me how to make samosas. And then after I learned how to make samosas for Bozide, I became a cook in Krishna Consciousness. So I've been cooking since 1973. Hare Krishna food offered to Krishna. Can't beat that, huh? I'm almost up there with McDonald's, I guess, huh? And how much price of Prasadam I've distributed, how many feasts I've cooked for, how many hundreds of thousands of people I've cooked for. You know, I've got amazing stories. I've worked in 4 or 5 Govindas, Mukundas. You know, I helped cook for the first Rath Yatra in Geneva, Switzerland, with Hare Cakes. I mean, I've been all over the world doing cooking for Krishna. I worked in Stockholm, Sweden, restaurant Govindas, you know, for so many months, you know, and I learned cooking from Sadhananda and learning the ins and outs of cooking, and I became who I am today. I'm a very good cook and a very good gardener. I just have so much knowledge to give. Now you guys gotta come and get it. I'm done reaching out for you all. You gotta come now. You want some knowledge, you gotta get in the phone and call me and make an appointment.
Yes. Wow.
Well, I'm fascinated not only by you know, on a material standpoint, you're such an experienced career cook, but not only that, this has been a major part of your own spiritual practice and way back to God is through this cooking process. And you know, I admire how, I mean, for me, I have such an aversion to washing pots, but how you were able to just submit, you know, when you first joined to do that, and then eventually they taught you how to make ghee, and then you've been the top chef in many temples for decades now. So yeah, I just love seeing those parallels, how something may seem like a material thing. As you mentioned in the beginning, you know, you recently found out that you have stage 4 cancer. And first of all, I wanted to ask you, you know, how are you feeling? Are you in any kind of pain? Um, and then maybe you can tell us about how this has affected you in your life, and how do you see your, you know, your time ahead with regards to this, and in your relation to Krishna consciousness and this whole process.
Well, you know, I have the stage 4 cancer and it's spreading, and I am accepting it. As Maharaj Parikit, he accepted the fact that he had 7 days before the snake bird was going to bite him. He was aware of that, and as a result of that, he prepared. So I am, in the same instance, am preparing myself as well for the leaving this material world. And I have to really say that Bhadra and Ananga Manjari and their family have relieved me of fears and anxiety that I might have had. Bhadra came up to me a week or so ago and said that Shankadas, your cremation is covered. Shankadas, after 10 days, your feast is covered. And I'm having my ashes taken to Mayapur, to the Ganges, where Jananava and the two brothers that serving Lord Nrsingadev, hopefully will do the ceremony for me with Bhadra and whoever else. So that's very relief. The VA is taking care of me. They've started me on a chemo pill, which I've just stopped. I am no longer going to take any more radiation treatments of any kind. I've got a living will. In my living will, I specifically have said that I do not want to be put on any life support. I do not want any catheters of any way involved in me. I want no catheters, and I want to be in hospice in a nice situation like I did for Chaitanya Ryan. I found that was very comforting. I don't want to really, no, I would rather be in an open place like hospice where people can come from all around, not just the devotees, and they can come and they can circumambulate the beds and they can pay their respects, and because I love everybody. I care for everybody, but I'm on my journey now. We're all on our own journeys, aren't we? Everybody's on their own journey. No one's going with you. Your siblings, nothing is going with you. But I do know this, and I feel this in my heart, that every soul that I've taken under my protection or my bubble of mysticism, I can say that I will always be with them for eternity, because the soul is part of God. We're part and parcel, and because we're all part and parcel, when we come together, we become that part of God that we are. So for me, I'm very thankful for all of you who have gone out of their way to give me blessings and to feel what I'm feeling, because my compassion is for all of you and love for you, but now I gotta dive into myself. I gotta look to me now. I've given everything I can to you guys. I'm slowly getting out of the kitchen, so you guys step up and get your team together. And I'm working on myself now. I'm doing a lot of good things, to make my journey end very comfortable and peaceful, That's
we pray
the way
that
it
for
goes.
you.
And my mission, pardon?
We pray that for you, that you're surrounded by devotees that you love, and that your departure is beautiful and peaceful. Prabhu, I'm just really humbled by everything that you've shared with us today. You had said that you will be with us after you leave, and I think every time someone enjoys the Sunday feast prasadam, you will be with us. We're going to be very much feeling your separation and so much gratitude for you. I want to ask if there's a way that we can serve you now.
The way you can serve me now?
Yes.
Is to, I don't know, just send love vibes and chant Hare Krishna. That's all. And take care of your family and your husband, my friend. And you take care. Nam Amrita is taking care of his family so nicely, and they have such a beautiful daughter. She's so connected to Krishna and so loved by you, Nam Amrita. I'm so impressed with you and your wife and all the people who come here to help your beautiful daughter, because she's special. She's got special gifts. And she's got a love for you that, there's no words that can. That's why I'm saying family. Family brings tears to my eyes. Nothing else really brings tears to my eyes anymore. Just family. true friends. But it's very hard to find a true friend in this world, you know, because I've had a lot of friends. I did have one true friend. I guess he was a nice friend, but he got blown up in 1,000 pieces in a Jeep in Vietnam. So much for that one. But, you know, everybody's going through something, isn't it? We all go through something, but just all these, please, just take the real, open up your hearts to Krishna. That's all I'm saying. Open up your hearts. And if you're really, really, really serious now, this is a good thing for you. Now, I say this to all people I come across. How would all of you like to drink from the well of eternal life? And by drinking, you will attain complete peace, happiness, and fulfillment of all your dreams and everything you ever wanted in this creation. I can do that for you right now. And this is how you drink from the well of eternal life. You make this vow every day that you will do this for eternity. You will start off with one round every day. Now, this is just not a jumbo round. This is a round where you take your bath. And after you take your bath, you change your clothes. And then you drink a tall glass of lime water and flush yourself out. Clean the inside. And then you sit in front of your altar. And you take your bead bag. And if you're with your husband, you take your husband with you and your children. And you sit in front of your deities. And you chant the Maha Mantra with all of your understanding of the mantra, hearing every syllable perfectly, just one round. One. Start off with one. If you can do one perfect round, I can guarantee you that you will be drinking from the well of eternal life more and more, and the rounds will increase, because that's all I can do for you. I've done it. I brought you to the well of eternal life. You can drink it or you can pass it by. Like you take a horse to water, you can't make him drink it. So now there's the well of eternal life. You chant one perfect round every day for the rest of your life. That's drinking from the well. And then from there, you will progress in Krishna consciousness and your rounds will increase as Krishna is taking over your life. Not me, not what I have said, but what Krishna has promised us in Bhagavad Gita. Surrender to him and he'll guide. He's got you. Just surrender. Just chant one round. I mean, there's not one of you out there that can't chant one round every day. 10, 15 minutes out of your 24-hour day. I'm not telling you to chant 16 rounds and go all crazy. I'm telling you, do one good round first. Get the real essence of Krishna consciousness. Chant that pure round. And then you will be like this beautiful mother here with her beautiful child, feeling the love of Krishna consciousness through family. Isn't it? Maria Kelly? Isn't it? You get the smile on your face. You're feeling so much love from your child. I see it. I can see your tears. I can feel your emotion. And we're not even near each other. We're so far away. So it's...
Sanka Prabhu, I want to thank you so much. That was an amazing final gift you've given us on how we can drink from the well of eternal existence by just one perfect round, sitting in our temple room in front of Krishna and really meditating on the meaning of the holy name as we understand it. And this has been really an incredible time that we got to spend with you. Thank you so much for taking the time. And I really, we have all of our prayers going out to you for good health as much as possible, and that you will keep happy and showering the rest of the world with your love of Krishna and your amazing compassion and empathy. Thank you so much for joining us on Nectar Talks. It's been a real
Thank you too for having me on, and I hope I haven't offended anybody. If I have, please forgive me. Hare Bol, everybody. Chant the
Hare
holy name.
Krishna, Hare Bol.